Good evening. Thank you for joining us for another virtual town hall. Today is Friday, April 17th. Thank you for joining us. As of today, we are now at 9,107 cases in Ohio, with 33 cases here in Greene County. And we are saddened to report that the county now has its second death. Our thoughts are with the families who have lost loved ones related to COVID-19. We do not have details to report on the second death. The information is not public, but we know the information is going to start getting out there that we've had the second death. So you hear it from us, and we don't have any additional details on that. But I want to remind you that what we are doing here in Ohio and in our communities, it's working. We have flattened the curve. The updated model demonstrates that our collective effort is working, but we must stay the course. We're not out of the woods yet. We are far from it. But what we do now matters, and we must continue to practice protective measures, continue to wear your mask, and follow the stay-home order. I want to touch base a little on what I discussed on Wednesday about the number to use for the mass layoff numbers. Folks have reached out to us asking, where does the number apply? So this is for folks who are applying for unemployment benefits on the website. On the application, there is a screen that asks about if your employer provided you with a layoff number. And this is specifically to address mass layoffs such as this loss of employment due to COVID-19. So on that screen is where you will enter this mass layoff number. And I'm going to give you that number again, and that's 2000180. I also want to remind you that the website is experiencing some difficulty. There's a lot of users on the system, and that's overworking the system in a way that it's not used to. So please be patient, but keep trying. The portal is open 24/7, so you can go on at any time to complete your application. So do that on the website. And that's unemployment.ohio.gov. And now we're going to touch on evictions again. You heard it from me on Wednesday that there's only one way for somebody to be evicted here in Ohio, and that is through the court system. It is illegal for a landlord to do any of the following to remove their tenants. So I want you to know your rights. It's illegal for a landlord to do the following: physically force the tenant out of the property, threatening to hurt the tenant if the tenant doesn't leave, removing the tenant's things without permission, turning off utilities such as your gas, water, electricity, changing the locks, altering the property to make it unlivable. If the landlord engages in any of those activities above, the court may award a tenant damages and attorney fees. So if you need assistance, legal assistance related to an eviction, we encourage you to reach out for legal assistance at the legal aid intake line at 1-888-534-1432, or you may apply online for assistance at www.legalaidline.org. And now on to the topic of lifting the stay-home order. You've heard from Governor DeWine that come May 1st, the plan is to gradually lift restrictions. That doesn't mean that we're going back to operating as normal. This will be a gradual easing of restrictions. We are not clear what all that entails, but we can tell you that some of the protocol for ensuring that employees are protected and your customers are protected will be priority. So there'll be processes put in place to ensure that as employees come to work, that they're being monitored for any illnesses. That's a protocol that we have now with the police department, and Fire Chief Colin Altman has a protocol for the fire and EMS crew as they report to work. So we believe that some of these processes and protocols will be extended as we gradually ease restrictions come May 1st. And finally, I want to remind you that starting next week, we're going to change the schedule of these virtual town halls to twice per week. And these will take place Mondays and Wednesdays. On alternating Mondays, we would have both a virtual town hall and a council meeting. So that's beginning next week. We will transition to 2 virtual town halls per week on Mondays and Wednesdays. Joining me tonight is Fire Chief Colin Altman, Police Chief Brian Carlson, and Mayor Pam. And we will now hear from Colin Altman. Chief, are you out on a fire?
Well, howdy, Josue, sorry. Fire Chief Colin Altman coming to you live tonight from this ramshackle hut somewhere in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee. I am here as part of a special strike force assembled by Council President Brian Couch to work on issues of reopening. Joining me are Dolly Parton, Johnny Burns, Dr. Fauci, the Oak Ridge Boys, and WYSO General Manager Luke Dennis. I'm here tonight to talk to you about masks. As we go into this opening period, people start to feel, well, great, I don't have to worry about anything anymore. And that is not the case. I have to worry about where I'm centered. That is not the case. So we want you to keep wearing your mask. And if you haven't been wearing a mask, we want you to start wearing one. This is probably going to be the new normal, at least through the summer, if not longer. The governor was pretty clear today in his press conference that this was going to be a slow rollout. And that, I think he's shown that he will put the kibosh on it if people don't do the right thing. So wearing your mask to protect yourself and others is very important. But there are a lot of questions about masks. So we wanted to go over a couple things tonight about masks. Dolly Parton was really big on getting this out to you guys. Number one, the mask should fit snugly but comfortably against the sides of your face. Very important, the sides of your face. It needs to be secured on your face with either ties in the back, which is the kind of a pain in the butt, or ear loops. It needs to include multiple layers of fabric. Obviously, maybe this isn't obvious, but it needs to allow for breathing without restriction. If you want that kind of mask, that's a whole different topic. It needs to be able to be laundered. You want to clean it on a semi-regular basis. And then it needs to cover your mouth and nose with no gaps between your face and the mask. Also, part of this is while you have your mask on, you want to avoid doing what I just did, touching your face. This is one of the greatest ways of disease transmission. And I just sanitized my hands, so it's okay. So what type of masks? We've got simple masks. This is just from a t-shirt. It's cut with a couple holes so you can put it on your face, go over your ears, voila, you're ready to protect yourself and society. You can have one of these cool ear loop ones that many people here in town are sewing. This one is from Beth and Andy Holyoke. Great job, Beth and Andy. Beautiful masks with these elastic ear loops. This one is not my mask, so I'm not going to put it on. Some of you, I've seen you around town wearing surgical face masks. If you have to go this route, that's okay, but we're trying to save these for surgeons. So if you are a surgeon or a surgical nurse, go ahead, wear them. These go on your face, the little metal thing, voila. You are set to protect the community and possibly even do surgery. Then there's the N95. Don't let me see you wearing this. We are saving these for healthcare providers and first responders. And we greatly appreciate everyone who's donated them to us as well. So this one, healthcare provider. Now, if you're feeling really plucky and you really want to protect yourself and the community, I got this one for you. This one is going to protect you from everything, from COVID 1 through 19, plus chemical weapons and other biological weapons. It's got this really fancy cartridge on the side and this great sunscreen so you can protect your eyes. So those are some different mask options you can do. But again, I implore you, please, when you're outside, wear a mask. Particularly if you work in customer service, it's very important. If you're dealing with people, have that mask on, and hopefully they will too. There's nothing else? Well, there is nothing else. I'm doing the talking. So back to you, Josue.
Thank you so much, Chief. And we will now hear from Police Chief Brian Carlson.
Thank you, Josue. Thank you, Chief Altman. Your police department is doing well. Remember, we're here for you around the clock. I'd like to do a huge shout out, huge debt of gratitude for all of the volunteers yesterday, helping bring food and necessities to the community and our fellow Americans. I have one announcement. So I'm sure you've noticed that we've had some street work done on Xenia Avenue and Dayton Street. So we will be putting proper signage up again beginning Sunday. No parking signs on Sunday. Dayton Street will be closed. All parking spots will be closed from Xenia Avenue around the curve to Walnut Street. We will not be towing or writing any tickets on Sunday, and we will do everything we can to try to contact folks to get them to move their cars. However, Monday morning, beginning at 6 a.m., if there are vehicles remaining and we cannot contact you, they will have to be towed. So that's Dayton Street. And then look for Xenia Avenue downtown. That'll be running from Glen Street from Speedway down to Corey Street on the side of the road. So no parking there as well. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Officers will be putting out the no parking signs Sunday throughout the day and the evening. Again, any vehicles that are parked there Sunday will not be ticketed, but we'd like to have those moved as soon as we can by 6 a.m. Monday morning. As always, I will continue to ask as well that we stay the course, wear our masks when in public or when someone comes into our spaces. And please don't hesitate to call the police department for anything you may need or any questions you may have. 767-7206. Thanks, everyone. Have a nice weekend. Back to you, Josue.
Thank you, Chief. And we will now hear from Mayor Pam. Mayor?
Thank you, Josue. And TGIF to you villagers and township folk who are out there watching tonight. I saw an article in the Dayton Daily News for the last couple days that I wanted to be sure to share with everyone tonight and let you know that the Dayton Food Bank is having a mass food distribution on Tuesday at Wright State University's Nutter Center to help those who have been impacted by this most recent crisis. A wide variety of food, including fresh produce and non-perishables, will be available. They're, to my knowledge, they're going to be packed in boxes already. The food distribution is scheduled for Tuesday, April 21st, from 10 a.m. until noon at the Nutter Center parking lot. People are asked to not start lining up before 9 in the morning. Anyone can come, said their director. People are just really struggling to make ends meet, and this way you can use food money for other bills. Every vehicle that is in line by noon will be served. So the noon is the cutoff, but if you get in line by noon, you will be served. There's a limit of 2 households per vehicle, and if you're in regular contact with someone, then carpooling is totally encouraged. Vehicles should have an empty truck or a back seat. Food will be loaded safely by the food bank folks and the Ohio National Guard members. They will be wearing masks and gloves. As Chief Altman said, they know it's a no-touch distribution measure, so it will be safely done. So now here's the thing, and this is what got me thinking I wanted to share this announcement with you. If you're watching this airing tonight, you might not need the help, but maybe you know someone who does. And at this point, I want to give a shout out to Patty Bates, local villager Patty Bates, who takes notes from these town halls, and then Patty shares them with neighborhood block contacts, who are the people in your neighborhood here in the village and in the township, who are resource contacts for you if needed. So Patty is home taking notes. The notes will be shared with the NBCs, and the NBCs will be aware of this program. So if you or anyone you know might benefit from this, you can give your neighbor a call give your local NBC a call, give Patty Bates a call, give me a call, and we'll make sure you have this information. I'm going to share it, Sean and Philip, with you after the broadcast so that you can put up a slide that will be accessible as well. So if you know anyone who could benefit from a box of food, which is going to include fresh produce, perishables and non-perishables, once again, Tuesday, April 21st, next week, 10 to noon, Nutter Center parking lot. Thank you. Back to you, Josue.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pam. And I have one additional announcement. This is related to Emergency Loan Assistance Program. Through a partnership between the Yellow Springs Federal Credit Union and the Yellow Springs Community Foundation, an emergency loan program is available to residents of Yellow Springs and Miami Township. And this is to assist those who have been affected by the COVID-19. These are emergency loans that are available through the credit union. So if you have an interest in these loans, please contact the Yellow Springs Credit Union at 937-767-7377. All right, and we'll now open the floor for questions. We have two questions that have come in, and these questions are both related to budgets and the financial impact that COVID-19 is having in the local community, but also on how taxes are collected. So I think I will address these two, and if my colleagues want to jump in, they're welcome to do so. First question, are village management and council working on a plan to cut spending when tax collections fall off? So we'll share the information that we know. We know that all municipalities are going to be affected financially because of COVID-19. One primary impact is the fact that so many have been laid off or furloughed. Many businesses have had to close up or change their operations. And our local budget we have two primary sources of revenue, and that are property taxes and income taxes. So we know we're going to have an impact there. To what extent the impact will be, we have some preliminary estimates, which we will have a conversation on during our council meeting, and that's on Monday at 7 p.m. I'll provide an update on what we received from our local or regional income tax agency and the Greene County Auditor's Office. This is David Graham's office. So we'll discuss what estimates we received from this office, and we'll talk about contingency planning, what can be done. But we're looking to do all that we can to minimize the impact on essential operations. So we want to ensure that we continue to have all the staff and continue to provide essential services. And so right now we're looking at cost-saving measures that would have the least impact on our residents and our workforce. And more on that matter, we'll go in some detail during council's Monday meeting. So I encourage you to join us then for the conversation. Do my colleagues want to add anything to that first question? Okay, the second question, I have heard of cities talking about firing employees because of lack of federal assistance. What is the situation for Yellow Springs? Again, we're going to have this conversation during Monday's council meeting. There's no reason to be alarmed yet. Right now, we're not receiving estimates that indicate a requirement of reduction in workforce. So we feel fortunate to be in that position. We know municipalities throughout the country have had to make drastic action. For the most recent case, Cincinnati and others. We are not there. We're not looking at a reduction in force. So we feel fortunate. We will continue to provide our police services and other essential services. So, but again, I want to encourage you to join the conversation on Monday night. This is council Monday night meeting at 7 p.m. Chief Colin Altman, is there anything you want to add on your end related to fire and EMS services?
No, I mean, we're not, the township is not looking at any kind of reduction in workforces here at all, which is a good thing. We like that. And the board of trustees meets Monday. And the fiscal officer is constantly monitoring things and working with David Graham. So we'll get a better picture as the year progresses on how things are going with property tax collection. So.
And last note on these budget estimates, we're still early on with the stay-home order went in effect on Monday, and this is when a lot of the businesses were forced to close. So we're looking at about a 1 month effect on this, and we're monitoring the situation, and we'll see how things move through April and May as the governor gradually eases restrictions on businesses. So stay tuned. Any additional questions for them?
So
I have a question here for Chief Altman. Doesn't face masks keep respirators and N95 masks from sealing? Sorry, I'm misreading this. Doesn't face fur, I guess beer, keep respirators and N95 masks from sealing well enough?
They certainly can, which is why people who are actually active as a firefighter cannot have significant facial hair. Employers perform testing with N95s to make sure they fit correctly and see how that works. So some people with some facial hair have been able to pass those. It's kind of a case-by-case basis. You may have seen some hospitals had their male staff who did have beards shave, and that's yep, you're next, Josue. That's a choice for each individual employer. But as long as that employee can pass the fit test for an N95 with whatever facial hair they may have, that keeps them safe.
Thank you, Chief. Police Chief Brian Carlson, I'm sorry I interrupted you, and you were wanting to say something?
yeah, sorry about that, Josue. So I received a message from apparently the shed where Chief Altman, Dolly Parton, and Johnny Burns are hanging out. I neglected to inform everyone the road closures will be in effect Monday all day, Tuesday all day, and we will be opening up the parking and the sides of the roads Wednesday morning. That's it.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, we're looking for more questions. Is that all the questions? Okay, that's all the questions that we have for tonight. Any of my colleagues want to say a closing message? Okay. Well, want to remind our viewers, our residents, our neighbors and friends that we're here as a resource. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us if you need anything. We're in this together, and together we should get through this. Please keep doing what you're doing. It is working, and this is how we'll make it through. Thank you, and have a wonderful night and a good weekend.